boat to go tap the island.
I tapped an island once.
I feel like there's a joke in there, but I just like.
Oh, are we recording or what?
Hello and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reported. I'm John.
I'm Nick.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Mike.
And we're your hosts on this magical adventure through this massively multiplayer online world.
Called Urzia.
In case you don't know. Although I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you probably already know about Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves a little bit here. So there's a little preface for why we're into all this and what we're doing. Again, I'm John. I primarily do Dragoon DPS. And I got into Final Fantasy XIV because, well, I mean, I'm really into Final Fantasy, and I was really into Final Fantasy XI, so 14 was kind of a natural decision for me.
Nick. I originally became a Final Fantasy XIV fan. Well, since to begin with is 1.0, but I was playing Final Fantasy XI for nearly over 8 years, and I might as well just carry on through the tradition. So, and my main role is a scholar. That's what I do.
I'm Ryan. I started Final Fantasy XIV because a friend of mine said, we're going to do PvP. And that friend kind of ditched the game, so I'm kind of stuck here still. I also do Scholar, but I'm more dedicated healer more than anything. And yeah.
Yeah, my name is actually Philip. I've wanted to always play 14 ever since I saw the trailer on, I think it was E3 back in the day. I always wanted to play it, but I never had a computer that could run it. And now that it's on PS3 finally and roll with more, and I finally can play it. So, yeah.
All right, so all four of us are post-game players. We've all made it through the main scenario and are now, to varying degrees, suffering through trying to get geared up to make it to the final part. Why don't we talk about our takes on just Final Fantasy is a very story-driven franchise. Let's talk about our takes on the main scenario. Ryan, you can start with us if you like.
All right. My take on the main scenario is, I played previous Final Fantasy games, but as an MMO, I actually like the idea of a story-driven based MMO game. It's felt very interactive, and you feel like you're really a part of the story. Like, you don't feel like you're playing, you're not playing a main character, you're playing your character. And then your character is important throughout the entirety of the game. So, I really enjoyed it, and even through to the end, the boss battle, the final, raid, I guess you would do with, the 8 people was probably the most fun I've had in any MMO. Out of any, I've never finished an MMO, to be honest. I usually hit halfway, but this is the first game I've actually maxed out to the cap.
We are, again, like I said, post-game players, so obviously we do know certain spoilers that other people know, but we're going to try to keep it pretty concise and compact, not to spoil too much for anybody, although in later entries we will be discussing more specific stuff like the whole final arc of the game and whatnot. Philip, what was your take on the main scenario?
Oh, no, I kind of agree with Ryan. I was really happy that it actually had a good story and everything, and it just felt like interactive, like you said. I enjoyed playing it a lot. I played the other Final Fantasies and enjoyed playing for the story, so it was good to see that this actually had a story, and it looks like they did put the thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was fun.
Well, I'm going to keep this brief. Pretty much for the main scenario, I did expect a lot more voiceovers, but shut up. I did expect a lot more voiceovers, but
we need more voiceovers. Shut up.
But it was a very good storyline. It kept up with how it was before 1.0, and it was pretty exciting.
I did like that the storyline gave enough information for to keep people who played 1.0 interested, but not to alienate people who hadn't played 1.0. So I thought that was a pretty good way to go about it. Again, I agree. The final just series of missions were probably the most rewarding part I've had in the game. It felt like everything came to a real good conclusion, full of high energy, high conflict. As someone who writes, I was impressed by it. We'll say that. All right, let's move on to what everyone for a good portion of the game's release has been doing since beating the storyline. Beat sticking the primals. Or moreover, being beat sticked by the primals. I'm talking specifically Titan and one very unhappy day.
The Nuggets?
In my life. But once I beat it, I was the last one to beat it out of all of us. That it was good. I enjoyed it.
Honestly, post game, I didn't think of the primals. I thought were always fun. I always enjoyed fighting them. It was more like back when I beat the game. It was WP didn't even have. It was before the update with WP. Actually gave Mythos Tombstone, so we were farming Castro Meridian and Praetorium. And back then, farming the missions just sucked. Hated it. Boring.
Yeah, I was lucky due to my, I'm not going to say laziness, but slow play to get through the story. I happened to miss a lot of the time of the game where everything was a lot slower to get certain advancements. So I got to benefit from, higher tome drops and having a group of committed friends who were all a bit more powerful than most of the people they fought the primals with.
That is
Relic +1 status.
Relic +1.
Nothing is more intimidating or hilarious to me is going into the game. There's a series of 3 dungeons you do, and one of them is not a dungeon. It is really just a standalone boss fight. And it's already not that hard. It's called Camp Westwind I think that's what they're called, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who know what that is. And going in there, I didn't expect it to be hard as far as fights goes, but having a team of 7 fully decked out, Relic plus armor, all that jazz, making the fight about 3 minutes, if we're lucky, long. That was a fun moment, I think.
Yeah, that one, most people were still with their AF and such when they're doing cap. Pretty much that particular instance, it took us nearly 10 minutes to actually down that boss.
Back when we were.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the first week of release.
2.0.
We got that far.
Yeah.
We rushed to the end. And and then we were farming those stupid Darklight armors. It was just all we were going to see Praetorium or even AK, but a lot of people wouldn't even let you AK and get AK until you get better gear.
So, talking hard mode primals specifically, which one do you believe, Garuda, Ifrit, Titan, who was the most fun to fight?
Oh shit.
Most fun?
For me, it's Ifrit. But I think it's because I know that fight like the back of my hand at this point. I think I'm the most used to it. Garuda's fun as well. Titan, that is a root canal for me.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with Titan. Back in the day, I used to hate Titan, but nowadays, Titan's a cakewalk for me. I think that my favorite fight was Garuda with the ads and everything that they added with her.
Not to mention Garuda has the best music.
Garuda does have really good music. I actually hated the Garuda fight out of all 3. I don't know. I was a healer,
As a healer, yeah.
I guess as a healer, but I liked Ifrit. Ifrit was easy though. Titan for me was the most fun because it was just mechanically you had to know what you were doing. This wasn't, up until that point you could just wing it through all the primals, but if you didn't know Titan, you were in for a really bad time and a lot of flaming from your group. Because
I was instructed to do some studying before I went into Titan. Had to get my PhD in fighting Titan.
It's not that bad once you figure out his pattern and everything and know what his attacks are. If you go in there blind though, you're just gonna get annihilated or just launch off the platform.
Or blown up by a bomb in those stupid rotations.
Or the fucking Weight of the Lands. Actually, Weight of the Lands. That's the
Weight of the Lands. I'm pretty sure that's the bane for everyone. Not a fun time. So how about difficulty-wise? For me, as I've already said, it was Titan.
Yeah,
I agree on Titan there. Yeah.
Nowadays, I can.
Post all of them, it is considerably easier because we're geared up beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
But when at least for me, when I was going in there with just my regular AFs and an Ifrit spear, I
Not
was.
AF, you're in Dark Light, I think, at least.
I had no dark lights going into Titan. It was all AF. And,
Yeah, he was. He was an AF.
Oh, yeah, the CT.
and all
Yeah.
AF and my Ifrit spear was my down Titan.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, that was just.
They wouldn't even let you in that fight back then.
Yeah, back then that was the.
I
crazy part.
was fortunate. We assembled a party for the sake of me beating Titan. So, but I think I carried my weight in that
No,
fight.
you didn't die.
I knew what I was doing. I
Yeah.
could dodge.
Yeah, that's the whole point, I think. But what's crazy is that I think every fight kind of, even at least on hard mode, it gives you something to learn. Like, you know, if you learn as an off tank, you need to learn to stun and watch cooldown timers.
Mm-hmm.
In Garuda, you know, as a tank, you need to learn how to pull the right ads. Because if you pull the wrong ad, then you end up wiping the entire group. You know, Titan, a tank just kind of has to stand there. But then even then, that's a healer's job. Because now a healer has to heal the tank. So when, you know, all of Titan's spells and AoEs come out of everywhere, you got to make sure everyone can live by the end of it.
Yeah, because
even with the DPS, you learn how to dodge for that. But
Yeah, DPS needs to learn how to dodge, but I mean, even when he ground stomps twice, or
That's what made Titan so hard for me is because again I'm a close range DPS, so getting out of the way of his attacks was the biggest challenge.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm point and click.
Yeah.
I just cycle through the same 2 combos and adjust my footing to get buffs or attach whatnot. But yeah, dodging was definitely a trial for that.
Yeah, I actually haven't even touched the extreme trials yet, but I just watched them on YouTube.
I fought one. I beat Garuda. I farmed it, got my ring. I'm having a hard time with Titan, mainly because my internet's been very buggy lately. Like, any form of lag in the Titan fight, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's
you can't
completely.
Because the way that you fight Titan, you have to stack now, and all the weight of the lands are underneath, like, your group. And if you can't get out of the way, you're getting hit by everyone, every single one of them, and you're fucked. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Note to you guys: when you're fighting a primal, reset your routers.
Or at least, I think the one thing I learned from fighting primals is like watch a YouTube video.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely, at least Ifrit, if you have a decent enough person with you, they can kind of give you the hints.
Right.
But Garuda you want to know what you're doing.
Yeah, just because walking into that fight blind is the worst thing you can do for your entire group. Not just for yourself and your group, because you're just going to get people frustrated.
And, that's just going to bring on nothing but wipes.
Yeah. And
Wipe phase,
and no one likes wipes.
No.
No
Especially your team's doing great, you're sitting there fighting Titan's Heart, and then,
Yeah.
you're just one hit away from killing it, but nope.
DPS died earlier, and you couldn't kill the heart.
Couldn't get, or they're stuck in those rocks, can't escape.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
So, how about, I know we're a little early with this, we're recording this the night before this actually comes out, so we're going to probably do a follow-up recording. You might get 2 in 1 week. But the next live letter with the first half of 2.2 is about to come out. What do we know is going to be in it?
Leviathan.
I'm very excited about that.
Very excited about Leviathan.
I
More
no longer
primals.
have to just stand by that crystal and be like, something could happen, maybe.
More primals. I like the Mog fight when they came out. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
happy for that, and I'm ready for another primal already.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about post-game content. It's just, while we're still at the cusp of just new things emerging. So when a new primal comes out, we're on that excitement phase. We're the first here to fight this.
Fuck you know.
Yes, we're you still have people who want to be the first ones in the servers to beat the primals, and then people are still trying to get to level get their gear all the way up to 90 and things like that. So there's so many different things.
Yeah, post game is where the game kind of takes on its own form.
I just noticed in the beginning we were like, we're gonna try to be not as spoiler heavy if we can. It's just we're talking about post game content.
Well, post game content, most people know that, you get to fight hard modes of these bosses or whatnot. We're not spoiling anything within the confines of the story.
Oh, that makes sense.
Especially if they just go any place in town, people shouting for these things.
That's
even
true.
in the main cities, people are shouting. I see
Yeah.
people shouting for Titan party, check party finder.
What I'm actually more excited about is the new the guy did mention the new Maelstrom stuff for Limsa La Menza.
Well, that's what he's basically.
Are we getting
it's kinda
access to
more-
the next 3 rounds?
No, it's not that. It's basically they're talking about Maelstrom. I don't think it's actually the
Because
Grand
the-
Company, not the Grand Company. Is it Grand Company?
Yeah.
Grand
It's a
Company.
Grand Company.
It's
Yeah.
not about the Grand Company Maelstrom. I think it's more along the lines that it's talking about Maelstrom because that's part of Limsa.
Yeah.
Leviathan's in Limsa.
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, because in the beginning
there's
of
no way they're gonna just focus. Hey, this is all on Maelstrom. We're giving everyone who's on Maelstrom bonuses. No, they're not gonna do that.
no.
I mean, they might increase the Grand Company stuff. While I mean, they already increased levels for your free company this past expansion, but the Grand Companies might see like expansion. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. But that's why they said. I think when they said Maelstrom, they're talking about Leviathan and their whole faction fighting.
So, this is content I'm not a part of yet, but let's discuss Binding Coil of Bahamut, right?
Just say that 10 times fast.
Binding Coil of Bahamut, I can't. I'm already flubbing up after 2, I'm sure.
Nick and I and one of our friends who we play with, just was part of this our free company, just recently beat turn 4 for the first time because we've been slowly getting geared. And
fuck that nonsense.
We got geared, but we were kind of like hesitant to join because we didn't really know the fight. But we just finally said fuck it and tried it, and we beat it. Happy to beat it. I still haven't tried turn 5 yet. A little frightened by that or
Intimidated.
That's
Well,
the word I use.
Titania, look at that. This
Titania, yeah,
gigantic dragon.
I've watched videos now because I'm finally at the point where I'll have to like kind of study the fight.
Well, we're gonna test it out tomorrow though.
Oh yeah, we're gonna try.
T5, turn 5.
Maybe do a little follow-up on that.
Yeah, that'd be
turns.
fun.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited for it.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to it.
Actually, the thing I noticed about Coil, someone who hasn't started Coil yet, actually I plan on at least doing turn 1 tonight, is that group-wise, party finder-wise, or anything, people are they're very not into helping new players. I've noticed that. If you look on Party Finder, like turn 1 Coil, you have to know the fight. No newbies allowed. It's very kind of frustrating.
There's actually.
I can't speak for other servers, but I feel because we are on a legacy server, they expect you to be more pro at it than
I think
as if on a regular
server.
server.
It's same with other servers too. Like I've seen things on like Reddit and stuff like that, and there people aren't thing like that's all they see in Party Finder is like no newbies, must have experience, will get kicked. I mean, granted, it does get frustrating when someone's like constantly causing your raid to wipe, and it's just one player. But I mean, you gotta have patience. But that's why you make your own Party Finder.
Yeah,
So,
makes sense.
not only that, there is
you
a lot
build your
of
own team.
there's-
get your friends.
yeah. There's a
Make
lot of
friends if you don't have friends yet.
Right.
This game, it is very hard to do things by yourself. There is
possible.
no such thing as solo playering in this game.
It is. There is.
Don't listen to
You
him.
can.
At some point, you have to rely on another player.
But making friends is ridiculously easy in this game. I mean, I play my fair share of MMOs, and sometimes you just need to call out for somebody. It's like, I need help, and you'll get a bunch of people saying, you need help for what? And
Oh,
Yeah,
especially
we'll do
if
it
it's
for free.
crafting.
craft. Oh my god.
We'll do it
Oh,
for
Someone gave me my
you
for my
need
relic.
materia set for anything. You'll get at least like 7 tells within the first 5 seconds of your requesting. Oh, I'll do that. Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep.
So at least with crafting, I found that everyone's really friendly.
It's really fun.
But once you're doing in-game content, those same people who could be really friendly to you when they're like, oh, crafting you this or setting this materia to that, will be the exact opposite the second it comes to you messing up their run of something.
Yep. Can't do
So
that.
you know, there is definitely a level of priority.
For sure.
in this
Maybe it's
game.
just a craft. Maybe like just crafting. People are just so jolly and nice. I don't know.
I know when I'm crafting, I feel so much better as a person.
Probably. It's just something, you know.
I'll just make shit. For
It's
people,
mellowing.
really.
It's very zen.
quite a conundrum.
Like I just have fun making stuff.
I remember.
It's like, oh, you want this? Okay, let me try. I'll do it.
I am a
Exactly.
little surprised at how much I enjoy crafting in
I
this
know.
game
I mean,
compared to other games. Because again, I crafted a little bit in Final Fantasy XI, and that ranked on insanely tedious. Whereas in this game, I mean, it's not necessarily any less tedious, but it's a little more engaging, I think.
yeah.
You feel a little more like you actually made it because of the skill involvement.
Exactly. That's true. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
So binding calls for the 6 through 10.
10 is going to be the most insanely
think
hard thing I heard.
I heard. I heard a
And that's
rumor.
what no, they haven't really told us. They just said there's gonna be new twist and then the word to use turns. So it's like, well, I see what you did there.
There will be twists and there will be turns.
Yes, turns. Coil turns. Indeed.
turns.
The coil will turn.
I
As the coil turns,
As the
these
coil
are the
turns.
days of our lives.
Right.
Binding coil.
I did hear a rumor that they want to make turn 10 like the hardest boss fight of any MMO ever. And that's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty ambiguous
Yeah,
statement.
those are some
because-
bold words.
Yeah, I mean, if you take someone, even WoW, I mean, take WoW for instance, like those raid, you have dedicated raid groups. You know, you
Yeah.
spend days at, you know, just theory crafting and organizing to take down certain bosses. You know, and we haven't really even gotten to that point quite yet. I mean, when
No.
Turn 5 came out, you were trying to, you know, we tried to become, you know, the first group to down Titania, but even then, that didn't require that much work. It's more figuring out their patterns. But
No,
Yeah.
have you ever thought of, like, you know how Crystal Tower has the alliance system with 24 players in one raid? I wonder if the Binding Coil of Bahamut 6 through 10, specifically, maybe 9 or 10 is gonna be an alliance raid.
Well, they did say that they're opening it up for Duty Finder.
No, I don't know about that.
Is that right?
I remember
hearing
reading that. I
something
think
about
I
that.
think they want to do 1 through 5.
I know they want to
something like
Duty Find something involving Coil, which, I mean, if they did do a 24-man raid in Coil at some point, Duty Finder would be the way to do that.
I don't know about that though, because I mean, like at least with me and my Coil experiences, Coil, you have to know the fight, and it's good to like talk and form your own party and talk about
Coordinate,
it.
yeah.
Coordinate
Yeah.
what you're exactly, because there's so many different people do so many different strategies. I mean,
If they
there's
did do a
certain ones that are
24-man
friendly,
alliance,
lot of
it would be a
people
boss
use
rush
over
type of
anything.
thing.
Like
Yeah.
you know, turn to and rage strategy seems to be a very popular thing right now
Mhm.
that everyone uses because it just makes the fight pretty easy.
Yeah.
I understand.
But I mean, I don't know.
You never know. But at the same time, we have talked before about how in Crystal Tower, it could be just a test for the alliance system.
Oh, I'm
Because-
pretty sure
Yeah,
that is their little science project testing
Right.
ground for the alliance system in the
Pretty
game.
sure I heard that. They were thinking
11
about
did
bringing
have
that
pretty
before.
functioning alliance systems, and there were a good amount of times in the game where it behooved you to use the alliance system. So I think it would be fun to bring it into this game.
Right.
But they would. I'm interested to see in what capacity it will be introduced into the game. If it's
Right.
just going to be more raid dungeons, or if there's going to be like in the field you could make 24-man teams, because that would make fate grinding a little interesting.
Right, I'm sure.
It
Just see,
could break it though potentially.
It could
Because then
break
all
it.
the people who do it by like the fates by themselves, let's say they're doing a fate waiting for a duty and they can't join a party because they're waiting for like their random roulette
Mhm.
and you're DPS and it takes forever for you to get it. So you
Oh, yeah.
decide to do some fates in the meantime. Imagine you trying to get credit when there's a 24-man raid now running around doing all these fates.
But they could limit it to just duties, as opposed to just having you running around a 24-man fate. It's just more of a party up system. You have, because remember, even in the alliance system, there's alliance A, B, C.
Mhm.
So you have your 8, maybe it's just more linking alliances together for that specific duty, as opposed to having 24 of a
True.
group with the experience
Yeah.
buffs and the seals
Mhm.
and everything going around, just ruining everyone else's day.
I don't think it'll work with the current game if they didn't
Not
introduce
yet.
that running around. I mean, maybe if it's worked the system a little more. I'm just a little worried about that. But who knows? I mean, the dungeon, you get more experience in dungeon anyways, but fates are kind of fun too still.
Fates are still fun, especially if you need seals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know?
and that.
I still needed down Behemoth.
Wait, Behemoth.
The fate behemoth?
Yeah,
Oh.
not King.
I've
I've downed him plenty of times.
killed Odin.
I've been a part of killing Odin before.
I got full credit in killing Odin. I got my Sleipnir barding. Haven't really seen him too much. He died so quickly now.
Since they adjusted the priority on enemies appearing, it's become Odin what?
Well, it's not even that. It's just people are just so better geared. Remember when the game first came out? I mean, people would wipe on Odin just so quickly, and we try to figure out how to beat him in the first place. We all thought it was Neil from Final Fantasy XI.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Just get all wiped anyway.
yeah, we still get wiped, and it turns out all you had to do was get enough limit breaks going at the same time, just finish him off. But
Not even that much anymore because
No, you get pretty much a good portion of the server zeroing in on one enemy.
yeah,
It's not gonna last. Just sheer numbers. Every one of them could attack at once, just one time, and it'd be done.
your biggest worry in those fights is just getting disconnected. Honestly,
Yeah.
no, that's my biggest worry.
Lagging
Yeah.
out.
lagging out. That's
But
that's
they
your
they are increasing the fates difficulty respectively as the more you win, the harder it gets. However, we've been killing Odin forever now,
Mhm.
and it hasn't even gotten harder yet.
right.
So
I think they should just make more a dedicated. It should be more of a dedicated thing where it's like you queue up with a group and then do like almost like a raid sense where you have like 24 people fighting Odin, but like a much harder version where
Yeah, I would like that.
that
if
way
they
you
did
still
that
have
for
that
Odin
challenge
or any others. Yeah.
Exactly.
Who's to say that they don't eventually introduce that?
I mean, I'm
just
sure.
Imagine seeing like Odin hard mode or Odin extreme.
Oh my gosh, I can just imagine.
Well, here's another question that pops in some of us that play the game. What do you think of the actual summon Eggies or Edgies?
I hate them. I'm sorry. I'm such a purist when it comes to my Final Fantasy summons that to see that garbage that summoners get, it's heartbreaking.
Titan looks like a chicken nugget.
Titan looks like a chicken nugget.
He is a chicken nugget.
You know.
Again, I was talking with one of our friends last night, and we were kind of joking because we got Titan, and he actually ended up getting hungry for chicken nuggets at the end of the night.
You know, you look at it long enough. I mean, I was so hyped up for Summoner when I saw the Primals and like this monstrous beast, this Ifrit. I'm like, I get to use that! That's gonna be mine! And then it's like, oh, what's this little fire sperm?
Well, I mean, it's just Ifrit with no legs.
It's Ghost Ifrit.
Ifrit has one of the better designs between the three.
Although I will say he has the strongest design out of the three.
I think Ifrit is not that bad.
So do we think
floating parrot
with the addition of Leviathan, will they add a new summon for Summoner?
Maybe.
That'd be a really fun idea.
What role would Leviathan run though?
Probably like a sperm.
I'm thinking it's either support in a more supporty role, kind of like in the scholar sense, like shields and buffs, or more of a debuff role where the more just screwing with the enemies, like CC.
I think it would be very
like
interesting to see
magic?
it do debuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That
a
would make
Saboteur for those of us who play 13.
Yeah,
That's what it did in 11. So Leviathan in 11, it caused a lot of. I'm not sure about stun, but it did do slow.
Yeah,
A lot of slow.
slow is important.
And,
So that would be interesting.
And I think silence, if I remember correctly.
And, or at least maybe it'd be a cool thing. Maybe increase the potency of your bio 2 miasma, things like that. Because Garuda increases the duration, I believe, or doubles the duration. But imagine just increasing the potency overall, But scholars do. I mean, they've been recorded to have like the highest DPS. Summoners do have the highest DPS in the game. Sorry, and so it'd be hard to warrant giving them more options.
It's okay. You can make Scholar the highest DPS in the game.
I mean, it's cool. It'd be cool if Scholars have the highest DPS in the game.
It's a little weird because they're a healer, but...
Hey, who knows? It's just
So,
technicalities.
So will Black Mage become the best healer in the game?
They're just titles.
I mean, they learn Psych. They can get... Oh, they don't learn it, but they get Psych.
Hey, those critical psychics, dude. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
But yeah. So how about stuff we want to see? Like, not even necessarily in 2.2, but just overall for the game.
Well, I'm pretty excited
New
for more
additions.
dungeons. Like, I don't know. A lot of people don't like Pharaoh series. I liked Pharaoh series. I thought it was fun.
Mhm.
The bosses were a little challenging. You needed until you learned their boss mechanics. So I'm really excited for this new dungeon, Ruins of Antipor, that's also coming out. Hopefully it has like the same kind of difficulty feel. I don't know. It's fun whenever you see people saying like, "Oh, this dungeon's so hard." I'm like, "Yeah, but I can beat it."
See, I'm definitely that guy. I want classes. Specifically Dark Knight.
I don't think it's gonna
Give
happen
me
anytime
Dark Knight.
soon. Anytime soon. I don't
Anytime
think that's
soon, no,
ever
I
gonna be
agree.
showing up.
I know.
I
It's
agree.
just the second they brought out Arcanist and they were like, "Oh, this can become Scholar or Summoner." I'm like, they can do that?
Yeah,
I want that on everybody.
that would be a really good idea.
So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see more split off classes.
I agree with Phil more on more dungeons. I'm a big fan of just dungeon running,
Mhm.
but I think a change I like to see is just as a casual thing. I do PvP casually, but the entryway into PvP is just it's a beast. And if
It's
you
steep.
don't know, like you're when you start off on PvP, you're gonna get destroyed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think it'd be better if they had a slightly better entryway into PvP. I mean, because grinding up enough wolf seals to get the gear, is a tedious task in itself. Even when you're grouped with friends, I mean, they increase the experience and seals you get when you do it. But if you're against, if you're eye level 70 armor, and next you go up against someone with, eye level 90, you're gonna get destroyed. There's nothing you can do
You
about
cannot
that.
compete.
You cannot compete. If a warrior runs at you and you're a healer, with, he has level 90 gear, or at least all wolf
Straight
gear,
allergen.
or like dire wolf gear, like guess what? You're gonna die.
Nice seeing you.
Actually, there's actually been a lot of players I've been discovering that even if you have full allergen armor or full I-90 armor, that doesn't technically mean it's the best armor anymore. Now there's best in slot armor.
Yeah.
It's always been best in slot.
Yeah.
It's been best in slot ever since, back when...
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
People were discovering that a lot.
wasn't paying attention to that at all.
Yeah.
Best in slot is something that everyone's gonna do. Everyone likes to min max and everything.
On,
Yeah.
on a certain part of the
You
stats.
don't even need to be best in slot. I mean, granted, best in slot's good, but if you're not nitpicky,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to get the best in slot and try to work toward it, but I mean, honestly, I look at it, wear the armor you want to wear, play
Right.
your character the way you want to play it.
Not only that, also the higher armor levels also grant you more defense, which will pretty much save your ass on most occasions.
That's true. So.
All right, so I think we've done some good talking for our first podcast. Woohoo! This is where I think we're gonna sign off. Again, I'm John,
I'm Nick.
I'm Ryan.
and we'll be seeing you sometime soon. You stay classy, Eorzea.